أنا اسمي ليلى أبي عبد الله كنج. أنا heading the real estate investment at Plum Invest Bank. معي اليوم مستر ربيع سابا, group of the cluster, restaurants cluster. I have Ronya On, Mr. Ronya On also. Maestro بالمولز. So today we're going to present the income generating real estate assets. شو يعني income producing assets? Income producing assets هن any business and investments that generate consistent revenue. It can generate monthly income or quarterly income or annual income. يعني بدل ما نروح على الماركت ونشتري asset at low price وننام عليه and wait till the price will increase, هون عم نستفيد من الانكم that this asset is producing on yearly basis. في كذا كاتيجوري نفوت فيها بالreal estate investment generating assets. في أول شيء direct ownership property. هلا اللي رح اقولهم رح اعددهم هن الكاتيجوريز الموجودين بلبنان. في كثير اشياء غير كاتيجوريز موجودين برا, بس نحن رح نحكي على الماركت بلبنان شو موجود اليوم بالماركت. فينا نفوت بالريل استيت انفستمنتس بدايركت اونرشيب. شو يعني دايركت اونرشيب؟ هو كل عقار نستملكه سند ملكيته 2400 سهم. يعني لما بتروحوا بتشتروا ابارتمنت فور اكزامبل، بتشتروا 2400 سهم، بتسجلوه باسمكم، فيكم تاخذوا لون من البنك، وبعدين بتروحوا بتاجروه. هلا if you are lucky enough الانكم تبع الاجار بيسكركم سندات البنك، ومفروض يكون التننت هو اللي عم بيسكر التشارجز تبع الانفستمنت تبعكم. هيدا it's a direct ownership, buying a title deed. في another kind of direct ownership هو لما نعمل limited, نفوت ب limited partnership. شو يعني limited partnership؟ هي شركة مساهمة, بتكون شركة مساهمة عقارية. بنفوت فيها, بنحط الانفستيسمون, نعمل ان تور دو تاب, بيكون في كذا انفستور مهتمين بذات العقار, كل واحد بحط الانفستمنت اللي بده اياه, وبينشرى العقار بالشركه العقاريه وبتتسجل باسم هذه الشركه العقاريه. وهي الشركه العقاريه بعدين بتبلش تستثمره. يعني اذا اليوم الشركه العقاريه اشترت بنايه ابارتمنت, بتصيروا تأجروها. هون الحلو بالموضوع لما بيكون عندك limited budget وعم بتفوت بشركة عقارية كبيرة, بيصير في عم diversification للريسك تبعك. ما بعود إذا شقة ما تأجرت في شقة تانية بتكون عم بتسكر الكوست على هاي الشقة. So it's less risk لما بتفوت بشركة مساهمة. بس المشكلة هون بالشركة المساهمة انه صار الانفستمنت منه بس مرتبط بالريل استيت اسيت, صار مرتبط كمان بالكومباني كلها سوا, يعني بالجيرانس تبع هالكومباني وبالبارتنرز الموجودين بهيدي الكومباني. يعني اذا ما كانوا كلهم عندهم ذات التوجه وعارفين كلهم شو بدهم يعملوا بعدين وكيف بدهم لمين بدهم ياجروا وقد ايه بدهم ياجروا, بده يصير في مشاكل. سو هيدا little bit of risk. هيدول اسمهم كان direct ownership. سوري بس نسينا نقدمها. الindirect ownership هي هلا عم بتصير اكثر موجوده بلبنان, اللي هي real estate investments fund. real estate investment funds هن صناديق استثماريه. اول شيء شو الصندوق الاستثماري؟ مش مين كان في يعمل صندوق استثماري. الصناديق الاستثماريه هن بيقدروا يقوموا فيها any licensed entity from BDL or CMA, يعني من مصرف لبنان والكابيتال ماركت اوثوريتي. هدول بيكونوا or financial banks أو financial institutions. ليش واحد بيعمل يعني ليش شركة بتعمل صناديق استثمارية؟ الصناديق الاستثمارية الأفانتاج فيها إنه بتجمع المصاري بهيدا الصندوق، وبعدين البورتفوليو مانجرز بينزلوا على السوق وبيشتروا الأسد. بغير بالدايركت اونرشيب هو بتروح على السوق بتلاقي الاسد وبعدين بتصير تفتش لتجيب المصاري. هون بالفاندز بيكون اوريدي موجودين المصاري، لما بتلاقي الاوبورتونيتي فيك تشتريها وتستملك بالفاند. ليه واحد بفوت بالفاندز؟ اول شيء بفوت بالفاندز لانه شو ما كان البادجت تبعه في فوت على مشاريع كبيره. يعني في اذا فتنا بفاندز بيستثمر باوتيلات، في اذا كان الفاند التيكت تبعه $500,000 فيك تفوت تصير اونر بشيرز بهذا الفاند اللي بيستثمر باوتيلات. الافانتاج كمان بالموضوع بالفاندز انه لما المستثمر بيروح عند الفاندز مانجر بيفرجيه بروسبكتس بيكون كثير واضح، بيكون نازل فيه الاوبجكتيفز تبع هالفاند. هيدي الفاند على كم سنه، امتين بتفوت فيها، امتين الاكزيت تبعك، بيكون في تيرمز محددين بهيدا الفاند، وبيكون في بايلوز بتنظم كل الفاند. وهيدا البروسبكتس كله بيكون قاطع على السي ام اي، يعني عامل السي ام اي ديو ديليجنس عن الانفستور. سو اتس سيف to go into funds more or less، يعني اكيد اذا الفاندز منيح. هلا والفاندز يوجوالي بيكون عندهم اوبجيكتيف من الاول، بتعرف انه هيدا رح يستثمروا فور اكزامبل كلاس اي شوبينج مولز او كلاس اي كوميرشال اوفيسز، فمن الاول بينعرف انت وين عم بيروحوا مصرياتك. هدول التو مين كاتيجوريز اللي واحد فيه يشغل مصرياتهم بالطريقه اللي فيه يشغل مصرياته بالريل استيت، يعني دايركت اند اندايركت. بس ضروري نفسر شو الادفانتجز والديس ادفانتجز تبع كل كاتيجوري. لما بتشتري when you go and buy a title deed you are your decision maker. انت بتقرر امتين تبيعه، امتين تاجره، لمين تاجره، فيك تتصرف فيه مثل ما بدك، واكيد فيك تاخذ عليه لون من البنك. الديس ادفانتج تبعه هو انه you're bearing your own risk، يعني بحال راح التننت من عندك، ما عاد عندك مستاجر، انت بدك تكمل لوحدك. اذا كنت عم تقسطه على البنك تدفع سنداته، تدفع التشارجز تبعه. تفوت على limited partnership، يعني تفوت بشركة عقارية. الافانتاج فيها مثل ما سبق وقلت انه باماونت معين فيك تفوت ببروجيات اكبر. بس الديس ادفانتج تبعه انه you should worry about the management of the company، لانه لازم يكون البارتنرز كلهم عندهم لا ميم لونغور دوند، كلهم عم بيفكروا بذات الطريقه بشان هالانفستمنت. الادفانتجز تبع ريل استيت انفستمنتس فاند هو يوجوالي بتكون عارف انك حاطط مصرياتك بين ايدين ناس بروفيشنالز، وما عندك اي وري اذا شو رح يصير، وين امتين رح يفوتوا على الماركت، امتين رح يظهروا منهم، لمين بدهم ياجروا وكيف بدهم ياجروا. بس الديس ادفانتج تبعه اكيد you're paying double management fees. انت عم تدفع المانجمنت فيز للفند مانجرز، وعم تدفع المانجمنت فيز للاسيتس بحد ذاته. هلا كل اللي حكيناه هون الكومن ثينج بيناتهم هن انه الاندرلاين تبعهم هو ريل استيت اسيتس. شو الانواع الريل استيت اسيتس يوجوالي الواحد فيه يستثمر فيهم؟ كثير مهم كمان نعرف شغله، انه اذا اليوم نحن بماركت، نعطي اكزامبل مثلا شارع مرم خايل عامل بومينج بالريستوران، مش يعني اذا واحد عمر بنايه ريزيدنشال بمرم خالي معقوله تمشي. عم بعطي اكزامبل. So you can't assume one type of property will perform well in a market where a different type is performing well. ذات الشيء ما فيكم تقرروا انه تقولوا اليوم مثلا عمرت هاي بنايه الاوفيسز اليوم ببدارو ماشي كثير هالبنايه الاوفيسز، in 10 years كمان رح يضل ماشي. الماركت كثير بيتغير واللوكيشنز بتتغير والسيكتور كمان عنده داينامكس كثير بيتغير من وقت لوقت. So the type of real estate assets اللي فينا نستثمر فيهم، أول شيء مثل ما الكل بيفكر بالريل استيت إنه يشتري بيت. أكيد homes are a necessity in life، يعني مثل الأكل والشرب واحد بحاجة لبيت. So هيدا الماركت ما بحياته بيوقف، بس كمان لازم نعرف أي نوع assets أي نوع residential عم نشتري. إنه مش حيلا apartment، مش حيلا محل بيكون it's a good buy even if the price is good. ففي دايناميك معين، في تراينجل واحد ما لازم يبعد عنه، إنه اللوكيشن هي it goes with the size of the apartment and the type of the finishing. These three بيعطوا you set the price of the asset اللي هو residential. So you can't go for a good location and buy a size that is not suitable and a finishing that is not suitable even if the price is good. So لازم يكون هالثلاث اشياء موجودين بكل apartment. When you go to buy a real estate, residential real estate, and you want to make it a income generating asset, يعني مش عم تفكروا لتقعدوا فيه، بدكم you want to rent it, you should know who is your target, who is your quelle est votre cible، يعني لمين بدكم تأجروه، وشو البادجت تبعه. هيدا كثير مهم، وقد ايه الانكم اللي انتم يعني متوقعين تاخذوه، فهيدا كمان بده يلعب دور مهم. في ثاني نوع real estate assets هو commercial real estate. Just like people, business needs a place to stay. يعني نعرف كثير منيح إذا حيلا واحد عنده شركة بحاجة لمكان يسجل هيدي الشركة. بس والكوميرشال ريل استيت الافانتاج الحلو فيه انه الانكم تبعه اليلد تبعه is higher than the residential yield. بس كمان اليوم بدنا ننتبه على شغله كثير مهمه، انه كل الشرك عم بتصير تكنولوجي اورينتد. سو ذا بيج سبيسز ما عادوا كثير مطلوبين. وبعدين صار بالانترنت وبالايميل صار you can access your work wherever you want and whenever you want. سو هيدا الشيء كمان عم بيأثر كثير على الكوميرشال ريل استيت. سو مشان هيك ما عاد كثير ضروري واحد يكون عايش بالسيتي سنتر لا يقدر يكون عنده شركه ويقدر يشتغل فيها، صار في يشتغل من حيلا محل even لو ما كان بالسيتي سنتر. The third type of real estate هو retail property. Retail property is a good thing لأنه أول شيء you can rent it core and shell. يعني ولما يفل التننت من عندك you don't have to do your the finishing inside. ما في داعي ترجع تحطه in shape لترجع تأجره. So you rent it core and shell and it's more stable than the office business لأنه usually الريتيل يعني الشوبينج المطاعم ما كثير بيحبوا ينزلوا الارما تبعهم. So the rent usually is longer than any other real estate asset. لأنه خصوصاً لما بيجي المستأجر وبيعمل كل الفينيشينج بيحط بادجت كثير كبير جوات الأسد تبعه ما بيظهر أقل من 6 سنين أو 9 سنين. So it's more stable. The fourth real estate assets اللي usually العالم كثير بتنساه بس اللي هو اكثر واحد ستيبل هو الاندستريال بروبرتيز. الاندستريال بروبرتيز when you want to think out of the box, go and buy industrial property and rent it. يعني you can تشتري ديبو فيك وتأجره كثير مطلوب. بتشتري أرض بتحط عليها هانغارات بتأجرها كثير مطلوبة وناس tend to forget about it. بس هون كمان عندها الحلو فيها انه كمان البادجت تبعها شوي واطي اوطى من غيرها. يعني you can buy a land or تستأجر أرض وتحط عليها ديبويات وتأجر الديبويات ببادجت كتير واطي أكثر بكتير من حيلا بادجت من حيلا أسد تاني. بس هون لازم ننتبه إنه الأسد اللي عم نشتريه الاندستريال بروبرتي لازم يكون عندها سيلينج معين، هايت اوف سيلينج معينه، ستراكشر لازم تكون سوليد اذا عم نعمل اذا بده يفوتوا كاميونات، اذا بدنا نحط ستوكاج، ولازم تكون قريبه من الطرقات العامه، ما يكون بشوارع مسكره ما يقعد فيه الكاميونات يقطعوا. هون في عندنا كمان شويه كرايتيرياز الواحد لازم ينتبه عليهم. هيدول كانوا categories of real estate assets. هلا بدي اترك الميكرو لربيع يخبرنا شوي عن البروجي تبعه. بس قبل حدا بحب يسأل شي سؤال.
What is the minimum dollar value to invest in industrial property?
ما في شيء اسمه minimum value. it depends شو بدك يعني what do you want. يعني فيك مثلا
I like the fact it requires smaller average investment, less property management. So what am I looking at? $2000 ولا 200,000 تبديش ولا 2 million? I'd like to get a number. You know.
اوكي يعني اليوم اذا for example رحت قعدت عملت اشتريت استأجرت أرض حد مثلا على تعنايل، استأجرت أرض حد مزارع تعنايل وعملت معهم ديل. عم بعطي اكزامبل وعم بعملهم دعاية يمكن. وعملت ديل مع مزارع تعنايل ليعملوا ستوكاج عندك. أجار أرضك بيكون كتير قليل يعني $10,000 يمكن فيك تستأجر 50,000 متر. depends انه ما فيك تقلي مثلا وين بدك شو بدك what the kind of property you want to invest in. ساعتها فيني اعطيك اكثر insight على الموضوع.
I would like to buy Trump Tower but I cannot afford it, so I'd like to start with a number. يعني سؤالي هو to see if I can afford getting into this investment. Let's say today I have $75,000. Can I invest? Well, I'm very far away.
فيك تعمل كثير اشياء $75,000. فيك تشتري 3 باركينج بالتباريز وتأجرهم كل واحد يعطيك يلد 5% بالسنة. اعطيني الاماونت وقول لي وين بدك وبعطيك السوليوشن.
Yes, about
هلا وقت اللي عم تعملي بارتيسيباسيون بشركه اعماريه وعم يتعمر عم نوصل لفي مشكله عم تحصل انه اليوم وقت بيصير في كريز
عم نحكي سوري عن
الفون دو بلاسمون عن فون دو بلاسمون بشركه اعماريه بنت بيلدينج بدها تبيعه
يعني
نعم.
شركه عقاريه
صح.
أوكي.
اللي عم بيصير انه صار في بيع بس وصلنا لمرحله انه وقف. اليوم نحن عم نمرق بكريزه وانما المصاريف التشغيليه ضلت ماشيه.
مثل شو المصاريف؟
المدير العام، نائب المدير العام، الكونتابيليتي كلها ماشيه معاشات بشكل انه هالمعاشات هيدي وهالمصاريف التشغيليه رح تاكل اللي بعدهم متبقيين من البناء. عرفتي كيف؟
هلا
ما هيدي لازم تنعمل لها حل انه وقت بيكون نوصل لوضع انه البروجي خلص هيدي هالمصاريف هيدي تصير على المينيموم والا
بهيدي الحالة لما بيكون عندك اكاونتنج ولما بيكون عندك سكرتير بتكون انت بشركة عقارية عندك كذا مشروع عقاري عم بتديروا مع بعض، بس اذا كنا عم نعمل
لا عم بحكي لبروجي واحد مدام.
لبروجي واحد
نعم
بتكون
بروجي واحد، وبعد في الديركتور والنائب الديركتور وكذا، والمصاريف تبع البروجي اذا طولت الكريزه 4-5 سنين ما عاد في شيء يعوض. هذا اللي عم بحكيه، عم بحكي كريال مش
اسوموما واحد بده يحط كاسكات الاكاونتنج وواحد بده يحط كاسكات السكرتير وواحد بارتنر بده
لا في نقطة انه المفروض توقف بينعمل في شيء، انه اليوم بيلدينج بالاشرفية تعمر،
هو لما بيطلع سندات الملكية ما بقعد في شيء
جست بس ما طلعوا بعد في انه مفروض لا خلص البروجي وانتهى وما عاد في
اذا
عمار.
طلع سندات الملكية كل شيء بيوقف.
يعني عم اقول انه بس اخذت وقت
لما
وبعدها
بيطلع سند الملكية خلص
وبعدها المصاريف ماشي وبعد كل شيء. هذا اللي عم اقوله.
Yes, please. Hello.
ايه تفضل.
Hey. You didn't elaborate enough, I think, about the legal issue of each one of them, because the rent for residential is not the same law as commercial, as retail, as the industrial, in terms of what are the rights and obligations of each party. For the retail, for instance, we can buy the shop and we can pay the khlu of the shop, not buy and then rent and take it from the old tenant to take it. So can we buy, is it a good thing to buy a khlu, for instance, if it's in Hamra, you cannot buy, or very little. So there is a legal difference between that, and it influences, it impacts the yields, perhaps. That's for you to say.
الخلو هيدا كان من وقت، هلا ما عاد حدا بيحكي بقى بالخلو، لانه هلا لما بده يطلع القانون الجديد تبع الاجارات خلص ما في بقى خلو.
قانون الاجارات تبع التجاري.
قانون الاجارات العام يعني هلا
لا عفوا، في قانون الاجارات السكني طلع واتطبق، عم بيطبق، بس بالقانون الاجارات السكني بيقولوا لك التجاري ما بيلحقوا وبعده ممدد لل 2018.
ايه بس خلص يعني اليوم ما حدا بقى سوري بيصغر عقله بروح بيشتري خلو، لانه اول شيء صار في كثير نيو بيلدينجز، نيو شوب، نيو شوبينج مولز اند نيو بليسمنت، انه نيو لوكيشنز طلعت، فما في بقى حدا بيفكر بالخلو.
لا معك حق مدام، بس أنا معك حق، بس أنا بس just an example to say that there is a legal difference between each one of them. هيدي يمكن تأثر على اليلد.
هيدي البرزنتيشن for 15 to 20 minutes presentation لأنه we have only 1 hour to cover all three of us. هيدي فيني أعمل لك elaboration إلى ساعتين، بس إنه I don't have time.
Thank you.
أكيد. خلص حناخذ آخر سؤال ونحكي.
في أسئلة سؤال. دونك كان عم يحكي الشاب هون إنه تعملي له أي تيبل ميد بروجرام تعطيه 5% ريتيرن إذا بيستأجر باركينج أو غيره. أنا بفتكر ما عم نلاقي اليوم هالريتيرن على الباركينج. يعني اليوم إذا جينا افترضنا على الشقة 2.5 to 3%، it's a great deal. وهون في discrepancy بين أسعار different prices in real estate assets، يعني إذا كان شقة أو مكاتب أو شوبس، والييلد اللي عم بيعملوه. وإجا القانون الضرائب الجديد حرق دين الدين زيادة، سو الييلد صار even أقل. بس هيك إنه عندك فكرة شوي شو عم بيعطوا اليوم ييلدز هول different sectors، وإذا عندك good opportunities فيك تخبرينا عنها. يعني ما بعرف إذا حدا منكم رح يحكي عن الموضوع هيدا أو بس عم تحكوا عن البيسكس تبع الريل استيت.
اوكي، هلا من بعد ما يحكي ربيع وروني رح نفرجي شوي سمول تيبل محضرينهم شو في ييلد عم بينعطوا بالفاينانشال ماركت بلبنان، وهن نرجع نكون حكينا قديش في بروجكتس عم بريل استيت عم بيعطوا ييلدز، وبعدين إذا you want to elaborate more we can discuss after this presentation. تفضلي.
I just wanted to ask, for the daily home loan, usually you're not allowed to rent unless you have covered at least 90%.
اوكي اذا كنت عم تاخدي
Is it
قرض
allowed to rent?
اذا كنت عم تاخدي اسكان قرض مدعوم subsidized loan
If it is another one, it's allowed?
yeah you're free to do whatever you want with it إذا you're not subsidized if it's not subsidized from the BDA.
بس تعليق وسؤال، تعليق انه بالميوتشوال فاندز يلي هن ريل ستيت صوت منيح بالريل ستيت mutual funds, I think you were يعني over optimistic انه steady income و it doesn't work دائما. كثير من الفاندز اللي كانوا بالريل ستيت يعني عم خسروا وما عطوا انكم الى اخره. السؤال الثاني بس اذا في مجال اذا هلا او بعدين عن الشورت تيرم furnished apartments investments، يعني مش اللي بيستاجرهم سنجل فاميلي اللي بتستاجريهم بالاسبوع بالشهر بثلاث اسابيع.
اوكي بخصوص شورت تيرم رح يكون في اذا كان عندنا وقت برزنتيشن صغيره رح اقدمها عن student residence يعني residential dormitory project بيحكي عن هذا الموضوع ان شاء الله يضل عندنا وقت. بخصوص الفاندز اكيد بدك تعرف بأي فاندز فيور ويلكم تو بلوم انفست بانك اني تايم يو وانت وي كان بروبوز تو يو اني قد ما بدك فاندز متينين. اوكي
Thank you. Good afternoon. We presented a case study on a project. Basically, it's an income-generating asset. It's a food and beverage cluster. The name is the Bakia, the Hazmini. Probably some of you are familiar with it. Venture Group is co-owners, developers, and operators of Uruguay Street, the former Uruguay Street in downtown, the Bakia in Hazmini, the village in Boyi, and we're opening in the coming couple of months Resto Saint Nicolas in Ashrafiyya. So I'll mention a couple of dynamics about this kind of projects before tackling the numbers and how the idle land has been turned into revenue-generating asset. Basically, these kind of projects are of temporary nature. عادة بيكونوا in good locations, and the value of the land is way more perceived, or the actual value of it can be exploited more in terms of built-up area based on a building code. So the way we stretch these projects are on one-story level, and that's why they are up to 15 years, and then they are knocked down and other projects are erected on these spots. The good thing is that such projects are of public nature. They are public projects. They make the land of a good address. It's a good reference. It gets a lot of stakeholders involved throughout the project, the community, and the local players in the commercial businesses around the project. It benefits from tourism subsidized loan. It increases the surrounding real estate because you get in an area where usually there isn't any public project or such activity, then the surrounding real estate gets to be more perceived as an interesting spot. The economy of scale it's all what is it about. In the older times كان واحد يروح يشتري أرض يعمر عليها مطعم وجنينات وباركينج أو يستأجر أرض. هلا صار إذا بده يعمل هيك activity, the price of the land is way higher to justify a one key restaurant. So that's why we take a land of say 5,000 square meter and we stretch up to 20 restaurants on them. So economy of scale in terms of infrastructure, development cost, all that jazz is covered through this dynamic. These are these are real information. It's a project that has been done, executed, and the figures that you will see are totally realistic. So the project, again, it's Backyard Hazmiya. We have developed the master plan of a community-based food and beverage cluster, featuring also a gym, kids playgrounds, beauty services, for the purpose of rentals. So at the end of the day, we're making this land as a revenue-generating one. The land area is 5,100 square meter, built-up area is 9,000 square meter, landscape and terraces area is 3,500 square meter, which makes it obvious that the footprint on the land is only 1,600 square meter out of 5,100, which is again not totally exploited, but this is the concept of such projects. It has to feature a lot of outdoors and eventually a parking. The time frame was 3.5 years to open. It took longer than was supposed to, but again, it's a learning curve on how to develop such project for us. The location is in Hazmiya, the main road in the old times. It's facing Pepsi Cola, if anyone is familiar with. Market studies at that time, it showed that there was a lack of such services in the area. The residential square meter purchase-wise is higher than other surrounding areas in the southern Metin, and the spending power of the residents in there are usually of outgoing nature. The architectural concept, again, we have, to attract consumer, we have developed quite an interesting architecture. It was a bit unusual, but luckily we got awarded on it as an architecture award last year. The building concrete envelope is left in a raw condition, more of an industrial nature. This keeps lines with the budget restrictions eventually. And the multi-purpose concrete, we have developed some columns along the terraces to hold the canopies and the services that are needed for the terraces. These are a couple of pictures just to give an illustration. Now the facts, there are 9 restaurants, 4 cafes, 4 bars, so that's a total of 17 food and beverage outlets, a kids playground, a gym, and a beauty parlor. For sake of this presentation, the land cost is at $10.2 million. The development cost is at $9.7 million. That's the real cost of development. Soft cost is $2 million. Hard cost is $7.7 million. And the equity injected is $6.5 million. Eventually, the soft cost is a bit higher than usual, if you look at the ratios. And that's mainly related to the high architecture cost, the long span of developing the project in terms of timeline, and the project management and engineering cost. In such public projects, Ronnie knows well, we trade in footfall. So what we look at is basically footfall. This project in the first year has done 850,000 visitors. This figure has been translated into revenues, because we earn rent based on a percentage of the outlet's revenues. So we charge them, say, for sake of example, a 10% of their sales. That's how we earn our own rent. So we have earned 2.4 million first year of rent, then it increases to reach 3.6 million in 9 years. Having said that, it means that the outlets have sold to consumer something around $20 million to $30 million in 9 years. So the pattern is always increasing towards the summer season and the spring, increasing at fall, then down at winter. It's shown, the footfall pattern is shown. The investment return, that's mainly the purpose of this whole presentation, to reach to this kind of, what kind of investment return we're having on this idle asset. when we have deployed this land for this particular project, we looked at a yield that would be even lower than that one. But luckily enough, the project has been performing. I hope it keeps on performing in the coming years. And we have reached a yield of 8.3% year one, 8.7% year two. Then it keeps increasing until 13%. So talking about yield on real estate, yes, in residential it's much lower than that. In commercial projects, if they penetrate the market properly, then they will show interesting yield. Our internal rate of return on invested equity is 24%. Payback period on invested equity is 4.5%. And the overall payback period is 10 years with the land and development cost. This is it. Thank you. I'm ready to take any question. Please, yeah.
Is the yield calculated before taxes or after taxes?
That's after property tax.
After taxes.
Because these kind of projects there are two ways to approach them. They may comply on property tax, or if you divide the developing company, then on the of the owning company of the land, you may go to income tax. But in all cases, the answer is after taxes. It's after taxes. تفضل.
Can you tell by any chance when and where is the next similar project? Like Backyard has been.
Yeah, ours in our country.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, we're developing. We're undergoing Ramlet Al Bayda, Beit Miri, Jaltoun, and Zahid.
Thank you.
Sorry.
You're saying that out of 5,100 square meters, the indoor area is 1,600. So is there an outdoor area that's annexed to the
yes,
properties?
Basically the terraces is another 1,600.
Ah, so you're renting out 3,200.
Yeah, and we're renting
the terraces at a price that is quite similar to the indoor. Yeah.
بس اتاكد الانكم اللي تاخذوه من هذا المشروع هو مش من الرنت، يعني you don't charge rent, you don't lease spaces, you only gain percentage of the income.
We charge rent. We sign rent contracts.
Okay.
We comply with the rent rates and everything. But the contract commercial formula is based on percentage of sales of the tenant with a minimum guaranteed rent. So if the tenant does not perform much, we are secured to return our own investment to maintain the yield. And if they do perform, then it's an yeah, it's the upside of doing this business.
لما تعملوا ماركتينج للمشروع هذا كمان do you charge the tenants part of the cost of?
Yeah, we charge them the cost.
Charge them the whole cost.
Yes.
Okay.
We charge them a 15% of the rent. We charge them a 15% of their rent, and we bear any extra cost.
Okay, one more question.
Please, تفضل.
يعني بهيك مشروع بتقول انه do you study first the population بتقرر انه هذا the perfect location لهالمشروع او تختار اللوكيشن وهو بيجيب البوبوليشن؟
Well, there are two theories on that. There is this theory that is used abroad, that is built it big and people will come, its destination and so on. But with the Lebanese consumer, شوي أصعب بيكون الapproach. It's أكتر شو الحاجة بهالمنطقة, شو spending power, you know the dynamics of consumer retail. And we have done the second approach. إنه الحزمية والمتن الجنوبي in general تفضل كانوا في عندهم حاجة ل restaurants وبارتيكولرلي البراندز يلي كانوا موجودين عاده بالابي سي بالسيتي مول بالمول we try to pull them into المتن الجنوبي. So كل منطقه لها داينامكس، بنروح على زحله بنطلع differently، بنشوف في different lags، so ما في a particular theory. Thank you.
any investor fee? What is the minimum ticket?
That was my
That's a good question. What kind of investment? Fund?
No, that's a private equity.
Private equity.
That's a private equity.
Which one?
Yeah, we are open to investors, given the fact that there are specific opportunities that are rewarding. It depends. Minimum ticket is basically related to what kind of strategy we're applying. If the investor is looking at the batch of projects, because we own shares in these projects and it's a revenue generating, not just need to discount cash flow and have other projects. Or it's by project, and this is very sensitive because people in Lebanon usually invest by area that they connect to. A lot of dynamics on socio-cultural approach. Our projects involve alcohol. Some do not want to have percentage of the revenue of alcohol. Some do want to have such percentages as an upside. So it's a bit, it's elastic. We need to, I mean, it's by
Each cluster has its own company?
yes, yes. It's an SPV for each cluster because, you know, it's rental contracts and they have to be, these rental contracts that have to be related to a particular car.
How do you control the sales of the rentees?
We do have two ways to control that. One, by having a link on their POS system, and eventually those chains they have systems and point of sale softwares. And the other thing is that we go on nightly basis and take their cash out of the day. So, and we've got our own software for that to plug in the database and come.
You asked my question, but I'm going to ask another question. If you're not taking that many investors, how are you funding your own investments?
I didn't say we're not taking investors.
Okay.
There are two ways.
Is it 100% investor or are you taking loans?
I'll share with you. There are three. That's the model. That's the secret recipe, if you wish.
It's not secret anymore.
I'll tell you everything. There are three ways to finance. Please be seated. There are three ways to finance these. One is that we sign rent contracts during construction, and we have the tenant pay a full year in advance. So if we're renting at 2.4 million a year, that's the first 2.4 million. The second way is to inject equity. Say another 2.4, you're at $5 million. A project that would cost $10 million, you already have $5 million in signed contract assigned as proceeds to the bank. Then the bank will give you the other 50% at subsidized loan, reaching or ranging anywhere between 2.04 to 2.6%. So it's an interesting model, yeah. Please. Yeah.
If anyone has a land, what's the minimum space for such projects? Then, what would the owner have in return if if the project is to give the land and you make the project, you receive the profit?
The minimum space depends on the area. Usually it's anything over 4,000 square meters. And what the owner will have, basically he will have a rent contract. Just a rent, we just rent from them if he's not willing to invest himself, we just rent the land, if the land is appealing. If he's investing fully himself, it's a development and management contract, the same or a similar contract that the Movenpick does with Al Walid bin Talal, for sake of example, with the property owner. You know, it's based on securing the leasing contracts, the launching and operations, and the temporary management. It's a model.
And if the land is a little bit smaller, can you make projects just adapted to the space?
Yes, it depends on the area. Our land in Ashrafi is 1,700 square meter only. But again, it's Ashrafi, it's in the heart of Fisher Field.
Thank you.
I'll take last question.
My question is very close to hers, but I would like to rephrase it. So
Okay.
we can propose properties to you. Either you will do the rent agreement with us, or you can make a project for us and you take consultancy. And this is
Sure.
I understood quite good.
Absolutely, sir.
Thank you.
That's right.
Do you take,
Thank you.
sorry, do you take summer visits?
We don't like seasonal projects much in Lebanon because, the country is not too stable, so we would miss 3-4 seasons in a row sometimes. Not really. Thanks.
For the investors, what's the exit? I mean, how do you exit? Because this is ongoing.
Yeah, rental contracts is ongoing, so the exit would be, which we do, it's a different thing that we sell along the package, but not in the scope of this discussion. It's a discounted cash flow where our banks would be interested either to do a securitization agreement with the company at, say, anything between 9 and 11%, or an investor that is looking for a stable income that will discount your cash flow at another 11%.
Good afternoon, Ahla Sahla. Thank you for this big crowd today. My presentation is going to be a little bit technical, but in order to make it fun at the same time and justify the technical numbers at the end, we have to establish the foundation that we will go through the presentation with it. We'll be talking about the return on investment, net operating income, return on equity, capitalization rate, internal rate of return, and so on. And they all related to what we call retail real estate, which is all about shopping malls, basically. We will go through the presentation and we'll talk a little bit about a specific case study today, which is a mall, a retail real estate project, a designer outlet mall, the first designer outlet mall in Lebanon, that is under construction right now. It will open for business next year, October 2018, and that is in Mazarat Yeshua. So we'll talk about the importance of the location, the importance of the catchment, and so on, and how we came up with the idea of an outlet and how it is all justified with the ratios that we're going to be talking about. SMAG is the company that specialized with the consultancy on development, leasing, and management of retail real estate. We are the only Arabic company that is officially certified from the International Council of Shopping Center in New York. This is the company that is handling the consultancy on development, leasing, and management of Center 4s and other projects in Lebanon and outside Lebanon. I'm going to go quick because I have limited time, but later on, if you have any question, we can always clarify any point you have. The facts of the projects are very important when we start early on trying to establish a financial plan for any projects that we do. It's important to talk about the location, the size of the land, and the built-up area, and what we call a GLA, which is a gross leasable area. The gross leasable area هي basically الأمتار الفعلية اللي بنأجرها out of the built-up area of the project. In this project here, we have a GLA of 20,000 square meter. Of course, Sitcom is the company that owns the project. Okay. Architecture of any project is a key, especially when you submit it internationally and when you win international awards, because shopping is no longer about just shopping. Shopping is about lifestyle, okay, which is a combination of food and beverage, entertainment for all family members, and of course retail, supermarket, convenience, and so on. So Center 4s is an international winner. The architecture of it is an international winner, and hopefully when it opens, it will have very high expectations on return on investment. The concept, we talked about it. The concept is, although it is a designer outlet mall, first of its kind in Lebanon, actually in the Middle East, except it only exists in Dubai. So if we are the second ones to do it after Dubai, that means we're doing very well due to the limited population that we have in Lebanon and the purchasing power we have. We made sure that it's not only a boring designer outlet mall, it's a lifestyle mall. when you have rooftop F&B, you have indoor-outdoor F&B, you have food court, you have an indoor-outdoor family entertainment centers, and you have enough parking spaces for everyone, supermarket, and of course, the major brands for retail as well. We talked about the architectural design. We're going to show you some perspectives to justify it as well. It's very, very important to have in Lebanon right now the indoor and outdoor impact. If you go to the States, you see it happening in Florida and California everywhere, and it's going west coast to east coast in the States. The United States are very good reference for this kind of business. So we follow the trend and we capitalize on it. Those are beautiful perspectives that we looked at, from indoor to outdoor, and we talked about the role of SMAG in this project in terms of management support throughout the development and leasing and eventually the management. Tourism is a key factor in our business. Tourism could include actually the Lebanese expats living abroad. The Lebanese expats, when they come to Lebanon, they spend a lot of money on shopping. They do believe that trends, especially the expats living in the Gulf, they believe that trends starts from Lebanon, okay? And when you have a designer outlet more and you have a major brands outlet, usually outlets appeal to the high purchasing power, okay? It appeals to B+, A- society more than anyone else, especially when you're talking about major brands, very well-known brands, high-end street brands. And this is the target we're capitalizing on.
Is it discount outlets or the non-discount?
It is discount outlets, yes. Catchment area is a key. So when we decided to do the mall in Mazrat Yeshua, we knew that Mazrat Yeshua sits in the middle of a beautiful catchment area where the population is about 750,000 people. There are no disciplined retail or F&B operation or lifestyle operation in that area. We wanted to capitalize on it. Schools are usually very good sensors. Schools usually have very good sensors for any development. So when we looked at the area, we have Chonville, Montana College, Jesus and Mary, St. Joseph High School, Evangelical, and all these very well-known schools. They give you a very good sense on the kind of development we need to do on the shopping habit of the catchment and what kind of people, basically what is our target audience, okay, in terms of purchase power, in terms of shopping habit as well. Shopping habit is a key. You may have a lot of money, but you don't have a good shopping habit, so you miss out. So we have to study very well, do the qualitative study and quantitative study of our primary catchment and of course secondary catchment in order to understand the target audience. You need to run a check as well on within your primary catchment, what are the other shopping malls and what kind of GLA. In Lebanon, if you look at this list, we have so far about 500,000 square meter of GLA in Lebanon. But in the Metin region, where our mall is, you find them only at the coast, Sahel, على الساحل. ما بتلاقي شيء بالجبل. Okay? And that road is very, very, very high. The people that drive by or they live there, they know exactly what we're talking about. And we have the numbers to justify it. I need to move on a little bit more in terms of, we talked about the shopping habit and personalized experience in terms of convenience, impulse shopping, and social levels. When we studied the profile of the residents, we studied them within 5 kilometers. Why? Because it's an outlet operation. If it weren't an outlet operation, we will not exceed 2 kilometers radius. Okay, so we look at the annual income in terms of various distribution areas, and later on, if you have any question, we can go back to the slide and give you a specific example on what we are talking about. But here we're showing you that we've done all the homework that needs to be done to justify the investment. Education level of residence area, social class distribution of residents, and here we are going town by town. يعني بلدي بلدي ضيعة ضيعة. We dissected all to understand really the target audience. Okay, number of families per square meter, the surrounding of centerfolds, and so on. Centerfolds is responding to a new demand from customers, distributors, investors. and retailers for large retail development. Okay, it's when you put all under one roof, okay, you win. Meaning all under one roof. We have parking that is comfortable and climatically controlled. When you have indoor area, and if you want outdoor, you have it as well. When it's AC'd and chilled in the summertime and it's heated in the wintertime. This is all very important to find them, and it helps as well to make it all one family destination where you can go and spend the whole day if you wish. Some of the interiors, when we do any feasibility or any business plan financial analysis, we need to understand the category mix. I need to know what I need to put on every floor. I need to know the ratios. Ratios meaning percentage of lingerie versus percentage of shoes versus percentage of the jewelries versus percentage of food, and we have done that. And why do we need to do that? First, so the matrix will add up and we can win and we will not miss out, because you don't want a ratio dominating on another one based on its category. And of course there are norms. Okay, there are norms that we base our study on. At the same time, each category has its own margin. So when we sit down to price how much to charge per square meter per year on rental and the percentage on income, you know, Rabia was talking about collecting rent based on a percentage on turnover, and of course with the minimum guarantee, that percentage needs to be justified. You cannot apply the same percentage on all categories. So when you do the matrix and you split men from women, from shoes, from lingerie, from jewelries, you'll be able to secure a return on investment, the higher return on investment of the investors. Okay, of course we do the SWOT analysis, which we will not be talking much about it right now, so we can move on to more of plugging in numbers and formulas to justify the investment. It's a tourism. It's very important to make it a touristic destination. Okay, especially when you are an outlet. Okay, because people can come from anywhere. In Lebanon, at the same time, you can appeal to hotels, where you mean no secret. Eventually, you will see it very soon. The mall is opening next year. We're gonna have airport. We're gonna have shuttles taking people from major hotels in the city to Center Falls. Why? Because it's an outlet. You may not be able to do it on major malls, but when it's an outlet, you definitely have to do it. Okay. Financial metrics. Establishing the value of a real estate property is important for many reasons, including, of course, there's the land, the value of the land. Okay, there's the value of the investment. How much assets and how much equity. All this you have to take into consideration when you start sitting, when you sit and start doing your feasibility and your business plan. In our case, we have numbers that you will see right now, but first let me give you some definitions so we understand each other. Okay, net operating income is basically the EBITDA. If you're familiar with the profit and loss statements, which is basically the income, okay, the total income of your project, and you take from it the operating expenses and so on, except the interest on loans and taxes, you have the EBITDA. This is the net operating income that is a major factor in our business, in any financial analysis, but in our case, we are not a straightforward real estate project. We are a retail real estate project. And the numbers and norms vary from one project to another. It's different when you take a BOT versus owning the land and putting the land as an asset in your investment. At the same time, it's different when you have, in this case, a designer outlet mall. When you have an outlet mall, your margins are slimmer. And when the margins are slimmer on retailers, you cannot charge them as much as you would charge them per square meter per year when you have a major mall. Okay, like we have in another project. But still, when you have it as a lifestyle mall and full-fledged mall, You can make it up from F&B, you can make it up from other concepts that they do not wish necessarily to be outlets, but they could be part of the mall and they can take advantage of the footfall that Rabia was talking about. Okay, so if I look at the return on investment, for example, for our project, okay, when you talk, the land value 20 million, construction cost 50 million, you have about 76 million in terms of investment. Okay, 76 million is a reasonable number. Is a reasonable number for a GLA of 20,000 square meter land. Okay, the net cash flow analysis is important as well, and I know I'm going fast, but I have to cover all the materials before we run out of time. This is the net cash flow analysis that takes you from the gross income to basically the net amount that you are collecting on a regular basis over a period of time. Capitalization, the cap rate, of course, the higher the cap rate is, the higher the risk is. The less the value of the project will be.
Is it possible to explain what cap rate is?
Sure, I can show you the formula, and actually we did run an example on it, so we can let's go over to for example. The capitalization rate basically is the figure used to convert income into value.
Okay.
Okay, so how much income is expected, and what would it mean in terms of value or future value of the project? Okay, that cap rate is a sensor of whether the project is at high risk or at low risk, because it affects the value of the project at a certain period.
What would be a good cap rate on
A good cap rate will be an 8%, will be a good cap rate in our industry, but if you go up to 12%, you're still in good shape. If you're beyond 12%, then you have to think twice about your investment. Having said that, this is actually the cap rate is the rate that you look at. If I have $20 million to invest and you were asking about $75,000 to invest. So I look at that small scale, and if I have a cap rate that is obvious to me, okay, the cap rate will tell me whether I should invest in this project or in this project or in this project or in this industry or different industries.
So the lower
Based
the cap
on
rate,
the lower the cap rate,
the better it is?
the lower the cap rate, the lower the risk is.
The lower the risk is.
Yes. Okay? Of course, when we talk about formulas, we have to sit and we have to measure it. Okay, I'm just giving you here definitions and a good case study based on real numbers. Okay. Low risk, to answer your question, when you take, for example, 8% cap rate, you multiply it by the NOI, then you're in good shape. Higher risk, for example, when you go 12% and beyond. In this example for example, when we took the cap rate 8% and we multiplied it by the NOI, we got almost the value of the initial investment. Here we assumed the land cost is based on real number. There are projections of how much revenue to be expected based on the GLA. You take the average per square meter per year for all categories from pneumatics, and you plug it into this P&L, then you have the expected net cash flow. Those tables I'm going to summarize, but just to show you here a little bit, we talk about as well the return on equity and the equity IRR versus the leverage asset IRR. Okay, internal rate of return. Those are the numbers that we reach, which we're very confident that they could be very positive. To summarize all, keeping in mind here that the debt versus equity ratio is 50-50. So we have 50%, including of course the land cost, the land value, and we have 50% financed. Okay? I'm going to run a video that can summarize the project and give you a little bit of entertainment away from the boring numbers, and we can take questions after that. How can we run the video? How can we run it? October 2018, 1 year from now.
You are the owner.
Sorry?
You are the owner?
The owner is a company called Sitcom. They own the project. We are the consultant on development, leasing, and management.
This was the main initial.
A country or a diverse and rich
This was the initial objective of this project.
The initial objective of the project, meaning
Building.
when the owners came to us with this project, okay, we wanted it to be a designer outlet mall.
So the main way.
I understand. It was an existing structure that was taken over by Sitcom, and it was turned today into a designer outlet.
Located in central Lebanon, Metten is one of Lebanon's largest regions with a metropolitan area of over 750,000 people and Centerfall's Designer Outlet Mall. Centerfalls, the first designer outlet mall in Lebanon, emerged on a hill in the heart of the North Metten region in Mazra'at Yashur, overlooking the breathtaking mountain and Mediterranean Sea from Kisarwan to Beirut, served by a road network to the major surrounding cities. With over 2.2 million inhabitants within the 30-kilometer radius, the Centerfalls location provides easy access from all areas and will satisfy a wealthy primary catchment caped by tourists. The main concept was to create a center of attraction which will communicate with its surroundings. Hence, creating a piazza was the aim of the project, which is commonly found in the heart of a traditional town used for community gatherings. Therefore, the architectural involvement molded one building into 3 blocks, generating harmoniously the piazza embroidered with magnificent landscaping and water features, welcoming you with an enchanting waterfall. Centerfall's convenience to its neighboring elements inspires a national extension of the urban living through stacks of retail volumes, rising visitors, to a shopping experience through multiple zones of lifestyle attractions. Centerfalls is the latest landmark and commercial pulse in Lebanon, offering a unique shopping exposure with a delightful fusion of retail and entertainment for family members. The La Piazza area is dedicated to the most premium fashion brands and outlets with a multiple use day and night. It can be a shopping magnetism, a playground in the morning, a concert venue in the afternoon, or a dining scene in the evening. From an outdoor dining area to a coffee house or pub on the corner, the emphasis is on architectural symphony. Centerfalls has over 50,000 square meters built-up area, with more than 20,000 square meters gross leasable area of exceptional retail, entertainment, food and beverage, and a tailored gourmet market. Over 140 shops and more than just shopping. Multiple sports shops, numbers of electronic shops, an exclusive homeware and home appliances area. (1,000 square meters of kids' entertainment. Centerfalls also hosts a diverse and rich food court, anchor stores, and 5 parking levels that accommodate plenty of car parks. With 3 entrances on 3 different levels, escalators and panoramic elevators take you through the mall from the parking to the stunning rooftops. A large selection of fine dining restaurants, lively bars, and a lounge area on the roof terrace offers you one of the most captivating views of the Metten. Centerfalls, all in one, astonishing luxury family destination. Day and night, an exciting new destination for Lebanon and abroad is born. Centerfalls, Designer Outlet Mall.
question.
الديزاينرز لبنانيز بيكونوا ولا مش شرط يعني؟
Sorry?
إنه الديزاينرز هن بس لبنانيز ديزاينرز ولا مش شرط؟
The architect is a Lebanese architect.
No, I'm talking about
Retailers? No, no. Retailers, like any regional mall, retailers will, the mall will host international brands. International brands.
Excuse me? What is the weighted average cost of capital of this project?
What do you mean?
The WACC, the cost of equity with the cost of debt. What is the average?
I'll share the number with you.
Because the IRR is 7%. And usually in Lebanon, the WACC is quite high. That's why I'm asking.
I will share the number.
Okay.
But just to be fair to the public, we ran a couple of simulations in here, okay, and we went fast on them, but I will share the proper numbers with you.
You mentioned in the beginning about the statistics you made for each village or each city surrounding the center.
Yes.
How do you collect your data? Is there any specific companies that's
I'll tell you, in Lebanon it's very difficult to collect data, especially demographic data. Okay, you cannot go without a siyaha or without a dakhliya to give you those. It's very, very difficult. So we hire private companies, okay, and based on the private companies, they can do a sample.
you mentioned?
Name of companies, multiple companies. There's so many companies. And specifically for this. Infopro, exactly. Infopro is a very good example of that. Very good example.
Do you help existing malls that are facing problems?
As a SMAG, of course. As SMAG, we love to take projects from scratch, of course. Okay, but if you have an existing operation that is facing issues, what we do, we step in, we evaluate, and we propose to you a damage control strategy. And if the owners are receptive to the proposal, then of course we can make it happen. If we look at the project and we know that the project cannot be revived, then we'll tell you that the project will not be revived. So turn it into something else. Sometimes the honesty is
the rent per square meter is comparable to the other malls, like ABC, the mall. How is it calculated?
Usually what we do, we look at the classification of the project. You may have regional malls, you may have neighborhood malls, lifestyle malls, community centers. Okay, I mean by regional malls, malls that are huge in terms of built up in GLA, and they're usually off the highway and they're not accessible by foot. For example, like Beirut City Center or City Mall or so on. Neighborhood malls are the malls that are smaller in size and they cater to a specific neighborhood. Each one will carry a different coefficient when we sit to price the rent per square meter per year.
This one today.
Yes, this one are two factors that make it cheaper. First, there is the factor of outlet, like we said, because when you have major brands selling at reduced or discounted prices, basically their margins are much less. So you have to give them a break on the percentage on turnover and on the minimum guarantee, keeping in mind the level of investment and the return on investment. And when you talk about, and this is applicable on the retail units that will be discounted. For the F&B, it will be market rate.
You compare yourself to which malls?
We're comparing ourselves to Le Mall rates in terms of F&B. We have a full matrix, and we can. It depends on the category. It depends on the size of the location. It depends on the location. So the smaller the unit is, the bigger the amount per square meter per
You
year.
can rent, you cannot buy.
No, of course, in malls, talking about the key money and the clue, in our case, luckily, we don't have that. Why? Because you can control the use of every unit. We know in advance, we do the floor plan, and we color code it, and we know in advance every shop what kind of category is going to be in that shop, and we price it accordingly. So when someone comes to rent from us, they know exactly who's going to be next door to them in terms of category and in terms of positioning as well.
Excuse me. You said it's going to be open in 2018, right? Yes. Hi. So I was wondering, are there any contracts already signed with major designers?
Of course. It's ongoing. The leasing is ongoing. We don't reveal the names yet because the tenants or the brands themselves, they don't wish, for the names to be revealed. But we have a deadline for that secrecy. Soon we will all announce it.
How much of it is already leased?
We are at 60% today, which is very good. 1 year before opening.
Is there staff accommodation in such projects in
The what?
Staff.
Staff accommodation, meaning for maintenance, cleaning, security, and all this.
More than that, like the retail store employees.
The retail store employees, it's the responsibility not of the mall, it's the responsibility of the retailers themselves, of the tenants themselves.
So does this mean is it
We are the mall owner, the mall developer will take care of its management team. Okay, then the staff of the shops or of the restaurants or any other categories will be the responsibility of the tenants.
Would it be a good idea, in your opinion, for somebody to go buy a few apartments next to the mall, hoping to rent it out to the staff?
Sure, why not? Why not? Why not? But buy it now before we open the mall, because the market is very
What about parking spaces?
Parking spaces, you can never have enough parking spaces in the mall. No matter what you do, you can never have. Right? Luckily we have this trend that could be sometimes obnoxious, valet parking. Valet parking usually makes up for the surplus of parking space. So you can always find a parking when you give it a valet. But you can never have enough parking spaces in a mall, and you can never have enough lingerie shops in a mall. Those are two benchmarks,
How far from Beirut? How far from Beirut?
We are only 20 minutes. 20 minutes by car. If you don't hit traffic.
About Brab, yeah.
If you don't hit traffic, yeah, you don't have. You come straight highway onto the S1.
I forgot to mention also, it's a good place.
Yes, very good place.
Accessibility by Bati Saria.
But sorry, we have a beautiful panoramic view from up there. Especially for the rooftop F&B, it's going to be gorgeous, amazing.
We're going there one day.
Just mentioned Bati Saria.
In the movie, I think the movie covered it very well when they highlighted the accessibility to the location. Yeah. I mean, the beauty of this location, you can catch people in the winter and in the summer, because the people that live in Beirut and they go to Big Faya and Zarour and this whole Meten region in the summertime, there's still very easy drive to Mazra'at Yeshua. And if you live in the city, Kaman, you're still very easy. But then if you look at the neighborhood, the primary catchment, يعني عم تحكي رابية مطيلب عين عين علق مزرعة يشوع, talking big towns that are livable all year long as well, with very high purchasing power.
Why the electronics are very percentage-wise very low?
Did you see them low? No, I'll tell you, we run a few slides. When you do the percentage of occupation, ratio occupation, you do it per number of doors, and you do it per GLA per square meter. If you look at it per GLA per square meter, those kind of categories that occupy a bigger space, so the percentage is higher. When you look at it by name of brands, then the percentage is very low because you can have only one or two electronics or home appliance shops, especially when you have an outlet.
So the percentage is on GLA or?
Do you make studies for malls VOT type?
Most of the malls in Lebanon are BOT.
This one is not.
This one is not.
Also the other one.
Lucky the owners, huh? That's not the owners, of course. But most of the malls in Lebanon are BOT. We do BOT. We do.
أنا بعرف إن الكونسبت تبعت الأوتلت مولز في نورث أمريكا ناجحة لأنه فعلا هي من المانيفاكتشرر للأوتلت، يعني ما في ميدل مان، ما في كوميشنز، ما في شيء. بلس إنه من بعد ما ينزلوا على الداون تاون وإلى آخره ويصفوا وهذا بيروحوا على الأوتلت. بس أنا السؤال اللي سألته قبل إنه يعني مثلا اليوم الديزاينر بفرنسا هو نفسه يلي مستأجر هذا السبيس وجايب بضاعته عليه ولا وكيله يلي
خليني جاوب بسرعة وهذا آخر سؤال لأنه خلص الوقت. في كذا نوع من الاوتلت اوبريشن. اوكي هلا بلبنان في هيوج اوتلت بنتريشن يلي هو بيسكلي محلات كبيره كله اوتلت كذا اوتلت كذا حتى ما نسميه لا نعمل دعايه ولا حدا يزعل منا. في شيء ايجابي وفي شيء سلبي. هالمحلات الكبيره كلها اللي عم نشوفها بالسوق اذا بتفوت انت بتشيل القطعه وبتشوف بتلاقي يا جايه من عند بلومينديلز يا جايه من عند ميسيز يا جايه من عند نوستروم. هدول كلهم هاي اند ديبارتمنت ستورز بامريكا. هدول الستوكات بتنلم واتس ا فيري جود بزنس وكلها ليجيتيمت بزنس. ستوكات بتنلم بتنشرى يا بالكيلو يا بالحبه وبتيجي لهون وبسعروها وهن بيخلوا لك اياها مثل ما هي لحتى تشوف انه هيدي شرعيه. بس في نوع ثاني من البزنس يلي نحن هلا طامحين نعمله يلي هو حضرتك تفضلت فيه يلي موجود برا يلي هن الاوتلت فيلج. اليوم اذا بتاخذ سبيسيفيك براند بتلاقي انه نفس المعمل عم بحكيك انا كلاس A minus B plus براند بتلاقي نفس المعمل عم بيصنع للهاي اند ستريت شوب لهالبراند ونفسه هو ذاته عم بيصنع للاوتلت فيلج محله بالاوتلت فيلج. عندنا بلبنان in order to do so you need to have a big volume to justify. نحن بالنهاية population تبعنا والتوريزم تبعنا يعني somehow limited compared to the volume اللي هو موجود بنورث أمريكا ولا بيوروب. بس ما بيمنع إنه اليوم they're allowing their local agents to either carry that collection coming directly من المعمل in order to do it بلبنان يا أما اللوكال ايجنت اللي عم بيحطوا البضاعات اللي ما بتنباع معهم وبيحطوهم ب legitimate outlet shops يلي هن belongs to them. اوكي نحن ما عم نحكي عن المالتي براند
زي الاوتلت بزنس
ايه بس في شغله اهم من هيدي لما تحطها كلها بمول وتخلق هاللايف ستايل ديستنيشن وانت مش رايح لهونيك بس مشان اوتلت في حدك مطعم وفي حدك كوفي شوب وفي حدك فاميلي انترتينمنت اوريدي انت عم تخلق لايف ستايل ديستنيشن بغض النظر عن هيكون في هذا بدنا نلمس الصبح.
سوري مضطرين نوقف السؤالات لانه وستارت اون على ثاني سيشن بس كان بدي فرجيكم شيء صغير هو تيبل كومباريتيف تيبل اليوم لتعرفوا اذا بدكم تشتغلوا بمصرياتكم and someone is presenting to you any income generating asset how to compare it to the interest rates اللي عم ينعطى بالفاينانشال ماركت. يعني هيدا رح يجيكم اصلا رح يجيكم كل اللي حطوا ايميلز ادرس تبعكم رح يجيكم كل البرزنتيشن اللي انعملت هلا اون يور ايميلز وهيدي منهم التيبل. هيدي التيبل اليوم اتس ريسنت داتا يو كان كومبير إذا حدا is proposing to you تفوتوا بكلاستر ريستورانتس بأي income or shopping mall هيك بتعرفوا اذا حطيتوا مصاريكم بالبنك او شريتوا سندات خزينه شو بيطلع لكم ريسبكتيفلي لمشاريع عقاريه and حطوا مصاريكم بالعقار. لا انا عم بعطيكم يعني I'm being very positive يعني اكثر شيء بيعطيكم تحطوا مصرياتكم بالبنك وتناموا عليهم وتكونوا مرتاحين وبلا مخاطر هالقد. بس مليون بتحطوا بالعقار بتغمض عيونك بتفتح عيونك كم سنه بيكون دور. Okay, thank you very much.